Here you are.
Hey, there's a pool.
I used to be scared of pools.
You're listening to the Fun with Horror podcast with your hosts, Scotty and Andrew.
Hey, everybody, I'm Andrew.
Oh, hey, everybody, I'm Scotty.
Welcome to episode 118 of Fun with Horror. It's the movie review podcast in which two long-distance best friends stay in touch by taking turns giving each other horror movies to watch, and then they discuss them.
That is absolutely correct. And last episode, actually the episode before last episode, I picked this week's movie, and that movie is Night Swim from the very beginning of this year.
Oh.
Stay tuned, everybody, for Andrew's pick of our next movie at the end of this episode. Definitely stay tuned because he has given me hints, and I am absolutely puzzled. My mind is boggled at what it could be.
Yes.
I have no idea.
Good. I love when that happens.
Hi, buddy.
Hey, man, how's it going?
I've got some things.
As always, buddy.
Oh, stop.
I wish everyone could see you.
It's only because I haven't shaved.
Ooh. Dang.
Dang.
So
that
rough.
makes two of us.
Ooh.
I got some things to tell you.
Lay it on me.
So many things. But the first thing I'm going to say.
Yes.
I was having a thought.
Okay.
There are podcasts that get tons of listeners.
Right.
A huge amount. By comparison, we get a nice size of listeners, but it's more intimate. It's more contained. I feel like because of that, we can be more personal with the people who reach out.
I agree with that. Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
We don't have so many listeners that, we don't have time to answer everybody.
Right. Right.
And I love that. I love that we have I truly feel like our listeners are our friends.
And we've talked a little bit about that before. I mean, it's true. It really is true. They are friends. And I've even become friends, via social media with many of them because it's just a small community and it's nice. It's sweet. It's fun. So I agree with that 100%.
Our beautiful friends with horror.
Yeah. Friends with horror. Mwah! I love you all.
Next, something amazing happened.
Tell me.
You know about this though.
Oh, okay. I think yeah.
A couple of weeks ago, I had the honor and the pleasure of going to see Winnie-the-Pooh Blood and Honey 2.
Yeah.
On opening night. It played for 3 nights.
Awesome.
And I went opening night. It was a screening with a Q&A afterwards, or as they called it, a Pooh-and-A.
Nah, love it.
With 50 Shades of Tay. He's an amazing guy. He's on YouTube, so go check him out. He moderated the Q&A.
Nice.
And of course, our good friend Andrew Scott Bell.
Oh, we love Andrew Scott Bell.
The composer of Blood and Honey 1 and now Blood and Honey 2.
Yes.
Was there. I got to meet a bunch of the actors. I got to meet Natasha from
Right on.
Blood and Honey 1. She's also in this one, but Blood and Honey 1, she was the girl in the hot tub.
Right. Okay.
I got to meet Tigger himself, Louis Santer. But here's the thing. Here was the cool thing. Way back in the day, I remember I told you about a band called Ice Nine Kills.
I remember that. Yes. Yep.
A post-metal, post-rock band. Their last 2 albums were completely horror movie themed. Every single song is themed after a different horror movie, and they're fantastic. Cool. Well, the singer, Spencer Charnas, was there. After the movie ended, after the Q&A, I was going to go up and talk to Andrew Scott Bell. But I went down. Spencer was just sitting by himself, and I went and I was like, I just tapped him on the shoulder real quick. I was like, hey, Spencer, I just wanted to let you know that I love your band. Nice. Your music is amazing, and you're just so freaking talented. And I was expecting to say thank you and great music, and then go on my merry way, right?
Right.
This guy is so amazing. He's so awesome. He sat there and had like a 15-minute conversation with me.
Yeah, dude.
He almost didn't let me leave.
That's awesome.
He even said, because I told him, he was like, hey, I saw you talking to Natasha earlier. And I was like, yeah, I'm one of the hosts of a podcast called Fun with Horror. And I showed him my shirt because I was wearing our shirt.
Yeah, man.
And he's like, oh, yeah, I think I've heard of you guys. And I was like, oh. So, of course, he promised to listen. So we'll see if he does. But
That's awesome.
Spencer, if you're out there, we love you. And thank you so much for taking the time to talk to a fan. Hope to get to talk to you again. He also invited us not invited us as guests, but that we should come out to his Silver Screen Con.
Oh, cool.
Happens in Massachusetts in September, I think it is.
Oh my gosh.
He was like, you guys should come, so we should go to Massachusetts.
Awesome. All right. On it.
I bought your plane ticket, so it's all good.
You're a class act. You're a class act. That's cool though. I'm so happy that you got to go do that and see our buddy as well, Mr. Scott Hill.
And let me just tell you also, his score for Blood and Honey 2, it transcends Blood and Honey 1.
Dang, dude. And everyone, if you haven't listened to the episode where we interview him, please go and listen to it. It was so much fun. He is genuinely one of the kindest, most amazing human beings, but his soundtrack for one, what he played was brilliant. Like, we talk about it in that episode. So I'm really excited now. I mean, I have been anyway, but hearing you say that, I'm really excited to hear what he does for 2. That's awesome.
It was great during the movie.
Mm-hmm.
It was even better when I listened to it again afterwards, the score by itself in my car. I was just like, this is brilliant. He even got a 4.5-star review from a guy in Film Score Monthly.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah. So
that's cool. Yeah. He is a genuine talent, man. Truly.
Yeah. I'm not going to say much about Blood and Honey 2.
Right. Yeah.
Because you and I will probably be watching it at some point and reviewing it.
I think we can tell people, that's going to happen at some point for sure on our podcast. Absolutely.
We just need it to hit streaming as soon as possible.
Yep.
Next, I want to give a shout out to a couple of podcasts.
Yay! Yes, please.
First of all, you know that once a month I go to horror movie trivia.
I do.
And there's some great people that I do trivia with. A few of them, Amma, Alyssa, and Kay, have a new podcast called Pillow Fright Podcast.
Sweet. I love the name.
We're recording on a Saturday. They just premiered their podcast yesterday on Friday, and it's really good.
Nice.
I recommend everybody go listen to them. Pillow Fright Podcast.
Love it. I'm on it. Putting it on my list. And I do. I love that name.
And the other podcast, of course, is so I got a message a couple weeks ago, and it was somebody that was like, hey, love your podcast. We have a podcast, and it's similar to yours. We're a bunch of best friends that stay in touch using the podcast, and we talk about horror movies, and we'd love for you guys to be guests.
Nice.
And I said, well, let me talk to Andrew about this. Obviously, I told them it'll probably be just me because Andrew is a very busy person.
Right.
I mean, it's hard enough for us to find time to record our podcast.
I know, man.
I'm going to guest on their podcast. It's called Chuddle the Pod.
Nice. I
love the name. And it was such a joy and honestly a relief when I went to listen to their podcast, and it was so good.
Nice. That's
I
awesome.
really, truly enjoyed it, and I can't wait to be a guest on their podcast.
That's so awesome, dude. I can't wait to hear you be a guest on their podcast.
That's right, baby. Stay tuned for more information on that.
Yes, for sure. Oh, awesome.
Finally,
I
watched a horror movie.
Did you watch?
It's called Alice, Sweet Alice.
I've heard of that.
It's from 1976. And I actually bought this movie last year because it's on, if it's still there, it was on Prime Video, but the quality was crap.
Okay.
And I was always curious to hear it because like Waxwork Records released a soundtrack for it. So I wanted to see it. I wanted to hear that music. I finally last year bought the Blu-ray.
Nice.
Arrow Video put out a beautiful edition, but I didn't get around to watching it until this past week. And it was really good.
Nice. Okay.
It's a very strange movie, but I was very surprised at how captivated I was.
Wow. Okay.
So,
Well, like I said, I mean, I've heard of it. I know nothing about it, but I've heard the title, Alice, Sweet Alice. I know I've heard of that.
yeah.
I'm sure within one of our mini horror communities that we keep in touch with, but I don't know it. So I'm very curious about it, man.
I'm not sure if it's her first movie. I don't want to speak out of turn, but Brooke Shields is in it as a
really?
young girl. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Very cool. Huh. Yeah, I don't want to know anything story-wise. I've been
Okay.
appreciating that more, especially even with the movie I'm picking for our next movie, which we'll talk about later. But
Okay.
I'm trying to veer away a little bit like you have with trailers because I feel like it's a little more fun when you go in not knowing.
Yeah.
It's been nice. So I don't want to know anything.
For me, it's like it helps me enjoy the second viewing of a movie even more because the first viewing, I'm watching the movie blind. No
Right.
trailer. I'm going in, I'm watching it. The second movie, it's almost like my first viewing was my trailer.
Nice.
Now I know
Nice, yeah.
everything that's going to happen and I can just sit and enjoy the movie.
I like that.
And I watched another movie that I have to tell you about.
Ooh.
It's called Night Swim.
I've never seen such a dramatic improvement in such a short time. We need to do more tests, but it appears there are no new lesions and the white tissue is actually improving.
We started the new diet, like you said, and
The water therapy and
Twice a day. We have a pool.
Night Swim was directed by Bryce McGuire. It was written by Rod Blackhurst and Bryce McGuire after a short story or short film that they made. It stars Wyatt Russell as Ray Waller, Kerry Condon as Eve Waller, Gavin Warren as Elliot Waller, and Amélie Hoeferle as Izzy Wallen. And I hope I said her name right. I think I did, but I'm not sure.
I trust you.
But yeah, that's who's in it.
Nice. And of course, everyone that is listening, we are going to spoil Night Swim. This is a pretty new movie, too. So if you haven't seen it and you're okay with spoilers, of course, stick around. But if you do not want spoilers, go watch it. Come back. Take a listen. But we're going to spoil this movie. So here is your spoiler warning. Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah, so it's dice time, Andrew.
I'm going to go odd again, man. But
You know
how
what?
many in a row is this now for me? I'm just assuming I'm doing it today.
I don't know. But here's
30?
the thing. Here's the thing, buddy.
Yeah.
I did a test the other day.
Yeah.
'Cause I was like, it always comes up odd. So I was like, okay, let me roll this virtual die 10 times. 6 out of 10 times it came up even. And 4
What
out of
the
10
hell,
times
man?
it came up odd. So I'm gonna hit roll a few times right now just to
Okay,
get it
yeah,
out of the
yeah.
system.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Here we
yeah.
go. Now, I'm not looking at what it is. Well, I kind of am. If it's odd, you're doing it. If it's even, I'm doing it. You ready?
Yeah, I guess.
It's even.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my
It rolled
gosh.
a 12.
Oh, I feel like, you know what? Life has been a little bit rough lately. Maybe this is my this is the sign things are going to be all right.
Yeah. You finally
Oh.
don't have to do the 3-minute recap.
Oh man, what a day. I'm marking this on the calendar. What a day.
I am not
Wow.
prepared for this. I thought you'd be doing it.
You you son of a gun. No. Thank God. Oh, yes.
Ah,
Well, you know what? In preparation of you doing this, I went swimming this last week and I
Yeah.
met somewhat of a water demon and just
Oh.
mentioned that you'd be doing the recap. And they did say that if it is over 3 minutes, they're actually just taking you. Plain and simple. It was pretty cut and dry conversation. So
how are they going to do that? Because I don't have a pool.
they have their ways. Do you have water in your house?
Barely.
In your toilet? And then they're going to suck you down. It's not going to be pleasant. So
I can't argue against that. I do have water in my toilet.
Yep. Yep. It's gonna hurt. So you got 3 minutes, buddy.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Wow. I forgot how to do this. It's been like years since,
Yeah, I
since I've done
know.
the 3-minute recap.
I remember. I know.
I got you for 3 minutes. 3 minutes of heat time.
Ray Waller is an ex-pro baseball player. Used to play for the Milwaukee Brewers. He's now got MS, that's multiple sclerosis. His family's looking for a new place to live. They come upon this nice house after looking at a couple places, and it's got a pool in the backyard. Backtrack, because at the beginning of this movie, there's a little thing that happens in 1992, years later, where a little girl goes out to her pool at night because her brother's toy boat, her sick brother's toy boat, is in the pool. So she goes to the pool. The boat is just out of reach, just barely out of reach. She falls in the pool, and then something inside the pool takes her and drags her under, and there's like all these like dead people outside of the pool for a moment that you see, and it's really creepy. So yeah, so now the Wallers have moved into this house with the same pool. Immediately, when they're just looking at the house, there's a baseball in the pool, and Ray finds the baseball just out of reach, and he falls into the pool, but he gets out of the pool. He's okay. So they're living in this house. Some weird things start to happen around this pool. The cat goes missing. Eve, the mom, she goes swimming at night, and she thinks she sees Ray outside of the pool as she's swimming, but when she comes out of the water, there's nobody there. Little Elliot goes swimming one afternoon, and he comes upon some weird stuff. Quarters start dropping into the pool for him to go find. He thinks it's his dad. But guess what? It's not. There's nobody there. He sees some weird thing in the water drain. And then Sister Izzy, she has a boy over, and they play Marco Polo in the pool. Well, suddenly she's not playing Marco Polo with this boy. She's playing Marco Polo with this bloated dead thing that's in the pool with her. All this kinds of weird stuff happens. In the meantime, Ray starts to miraculously get better as he's swimming in this pool. It's unheard of. It's a miracle. And he gets better, and it starts to take over his mind, where he needs that pool. He needs to go swimming. During a barbecue, something takes hold of him as he's playing. I forget what the game is. What's that game? Tug of
I don't know
war?
what it's called. It's
like
where
pool tug
you got
of
someone
war
on
where
your shoulders.
people is on the shoulders
Fight.
and push, and you're trying to knock the other person off.
Yeah.
Well, Ray goes down into the deep end holding this kid's legs and almost drowns himself and the kid. So then things go into overdrive. Ray has been possessed by this entity or whatever it is in the pool. Gosh, what happens? The thing doesn't want Ray to leave. That's one thing. Izzy and Elliot come back home this one night, and Elliot goes out to the pool thinking he hears their cat. He falls into the pool, goes missing. Izzy slashes her hand on a thing, and her mom shows up, and her mom jumps into the pool to go get Elliot. Her dad is now possessed and is chasing Izzy around the house. The mom somehow gets Elliot out of this dark water with all these like dead people down in the dark water, but with the help of the little girl who disappeared at the beginning of the movie, she gets Elliot out of the pool, and she's doing CPR on Elliot. And all of a sudden, here comes Ray, possessed Ray. But then Izzy comes in with a bat and hits Ray. And then suddenly Ray is he's clear-headed, right? But now the pool is taking hold of little Elliot because, Eve went to this lady, the mom who used to live in the house, backtracking again, and found out that the pool is like a wishing well. But it's a demonic wishing well. It takes so that it can give. So at the beginning of the movie, it made the little boy who was sick better, but it took the little girl as payment. So what's happening now is that the pool was going to try and take Elliot so that Ray could be better. Mm-hmm. So now the pool's got a hold of Elliot. Ray is clear-headed, but now the pool's trying to take Elliot. Ray, in a moment of self-sacrifice, says it's all going to be better. Don't look back. And he goes into the pool, swims into the dark, smoky, dark water, whatever. And now Ray's gone. But then Elliot gets better. So at the end of the movie, Eve and her 2 kids, Izzy and Elliot, they miss their dad, and they're still going to live in the house, but they have a bulldozer, and the bulldozer's going to bury this pool. And that's the end of the movie, I think.
There you go, man. Just under 3 minutes. I mean, half a second away. Hold on, let me call the water demon really quick and let her know that you did okay. Oh gosh. Never mind. I got the rejection hotline. She gave me the
man.
rejection hotline.
Wait, so it's still after me? That's not how this works. I came under 3 minutes.
You did. So I guess, next time you poop, be careful.
All right, dude.
Yeah. Anyway, what'd you think of this movie, man?
What did I think of Night Swim?
Yeah, buddy. What'd you think?
Okay, here's what I thought. Overall, I thought it was a good movie.
Right.
I enjoyed it. I liked it.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was gorgeous. I thought it had some great acting, beautiful acting.
Yep, agreed.
I love the way the pool was turned into a kind of a character in the movie. But I didn't really care for the last act of the movie as much. I felt like there was more story there to tell that the movie didn't tell us. I feel like it was a little rushed. And I feel like the possessed dad trope is a little bit overused now.
Man, we are going to agree on this movie.
Yeah?
Yes.
Is that what you thought?
Yes. But like you, I mean, I enjoyed the movie. I did. And I'm bummed that from what I saw, there was a lot of negative reviews about it. I'm bummed about that because, there's some tropes and there's some things and we'll talk about them. But overall, I had fun. I had a good time watching this movie, and I'm bummed that people were kind of as mad about it as they were. I was like, hey, it's a horror movie. Have fun with it.
Well, we've talked about that. The problem with reviews these days, and especially just random people online reviewing stuff, is that there's no nuance. So these people probably felt the same way we did, but they're like, the possessed dad trope is getting old. I hate the whole movie.
Right. Yep.
Instead of being like, that was an unfortunate aspect of the movie, but hey, there's a lot of good in this movie.
Yep. I agree.
Is there anything besides the possessed dad trope that you didn't care for?
Yeah. And it's really only one note besides what we just talked about, besides the possessed dad trope, which is, and I'm struggling with it too, because I get it, but here's my thought.
Yeah.
The underwater scenes were a lot of fun. I really, as you know, underwater stuff is kind of creepy to me. Even watching this one, there was a moment at the beginning, I want to say, I can't remember, where someone's in the pool and the lights go off and I went, ugh, yuck. Like, I don't like that. I would hate that. I don't like dark water. It freaks me out. If I was swimming in it, there would be urine in there as well. I don't want to deal with that. That being said, there's some underwater scenes that are really beautiful, really great, but some of the CGI of the water took me out just a little bit. And I thought, you know what? It's underwater, like sometimes they have to do it, but this is where my internal struggle came in. Is when we watched, oh shoot, I didn't write it down. What was the movie we watched, buddy? We did a review on it. Underwater. Was it? No, not Underwater. The one with
The Deep House?
Thank you. The Deep House.
Yeah.
That movie was pretty low budget from what I remember, but it was all, most of it was filmed underwater without CGI effects or with very little CGI effects. With a low budget, they were able to do that. Yeah. So that's where my internal struggle kicks in, where I go, yeah, it's underwater. You got to do CGI. But then I go, but they didn't have much money and they did it all underwater. And it was really, even though it wasn't necessarily my favorite movie, it looked realistic. Because it was realistic. And so I had this internal struggle of watching it, going like, oh, this could have looked a little more real. But I get it, and it could have been time, it could have been whatever, and so it's an internal struggle. But I do wish there was a little less CGI with some of that underwater stuff.
Here's the thing, I agree with you completely.
Okay,
watching the bonus features, listening to the commentary, it might surprise you to learn that the bulk of this movie was shot underwater. Even the CG underwater stuff that was shot underwater, but they superimposed, they added CGI to it.
Okay.
So, like, all that stuff, from what I heard in the commentary, they actually filmed some stuff in a huge Olympic-sized swimming pool that they blacked out the sides of to create
okay.
the dark water or the black water,
Mhm.
whatever they called it.
Right.
But yeah, I agree with you. Like when those things would happen, like when Izzy was playing
Yes.
Marco Polo and the CGI bubbles were coming up.
Yep.
I mean, I
Yep.
don't know how else you do that,
Right.
but
Right.
it took me out as well.
See, that was one, but the other one was at the end when Eve jumps down to save her son. There was just a couple moments where she's swimming, and I was like, "Why? Like this could have been just fine without the CGI. Like I don't see the need for it right there. I guess.
Yeah.
So I don't know. There's just a couple things just took me out. Which
The other thing that's weird is that I watched trailers after I saw the movie.
Oh, okay.
But then again, also watching the bonus features. There's something that they show multiple times in the bonus features, but for whatever reason, they must have changed in the final movie. But they always show Eve swimming in the pool.
Mm-hmm.
Then she sees like this old dead lady, like this dead, rotten, like kind of a zombie looking lady standing by the side of the pool. But when
Whoa.
you watch the actual movie, Eve sees a vision of Ray.
Right.
And I'm like, why did you get rid of that? There was just this stuff that had to do. That's basically it. I actually would have liked this to have been more of a monster movie than they wanted it to be.
I agree with you. I agree with that.
Because Bryce talks about this in the commentary, how he didn't want it to just be a monster movie. He wanted it to have a story, and that's why there's the story about the wishing well and things taking over. And I'm like, you know what? Don't discredit monster movies, because I would have rather seen more dead things in the water and stuff.
Me too. Honestly, I mean, monster movies are a huge part of the genre. That's helped start the horror genre. So I'd call it an homage if you're going to do a monster movie. But I love monster movies. I always have. So I'm with you. I think it would have been really cool to have something creepy in there more times in the movie. So I agree.
Because some of my favorite moments were Elliot at the pool drain on the side of the pool, and
Yes.
the dead thing inside there as it like
really
disappears from view.
I was hoping that monster was going to be like, oh, yeah, Elliot. Do you smell popcorn? But they didn't.
It did seem like an It homage, didn't it?
Did a little bit.
I
Yeah.
didn't think about that at all.
Oh, really? Oh, that was
Yeah.
the first thing I thought of, was like, oh, it. Cute.
Because there's something else. This is nitpicky as hell.
Uh-oh.
But in that moment,
Mhm.
when Elliot is pulling his toy out and it's got the hair all attached to it,
Yeah.
and the hand bolts out and grabs his arm,
Mhm.
there's a moment where the camera speeds up for a millisecond. It's like they do it to add more of a jump scare,
Right.
and it just distracts the hell out of me. And I'm like, oh, don't do that. You don't need that. Just have the hand come out.
I agree. And you've always kind of had that, what's the word? I can't think of it. But
Pet peeve.
Pet peeve, thank you. Yes. Yeah. Of that speeding.
Camera speed up effects. Yeah. I
Yeah.
hate that.
Yep. So I get that.
Yeah. They didn't need it. But I
Right.
did like the creature, the dead thing inside the drain. I
Mhm.
liked the bloated guy
Yeah.
in the Marco Polo scene.
Yep. Me too.
And okay, again, one of my favorite moments is when Elliot is underneath the diving board. And when you're looking from underneath the water,
Yes.
you see
Yes.
like a figure standing on the diving board.
Yes.
And when Elliot is on top of the diving board near the end of the movie, and there's the like dead creature like behind the float.
Yes, dude. Yeah, we
Oh.
all jumped at that scene.
That was great. Give me
It
more
was.
of that. You don't need a possessed dad. You just need these dead things.
Even I would say even one of my favorite moments is that towards the beginning when we see the young girl that's about to die for her brother, to be sacrificed. She pops up and we see, a bunch of ghosts or a bunch of creatures around. I was like, oh, I like that. That's a really cool, because it's fuzzy, it's blurry. It's one of those things where it could have been like, oh, let me clean my eyes from the water. I just saw something, but I liked it. It just, yeah, I totally agree. The monster aspect was awesome, and I would have liked more of that.
And I think something that makes it even a little more, it's just slightly frustrating, is that Bryce McGuire, who I loved listening to on his audio commentary, he's a huge Spielberg fan.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
There
dude.
are tons of homages to Jaws in this movie. They
That's
used
awesome.
a particular kind of lens to give the movie an Amblin type look.
Cool.
Then I think back to one of my favorite haunted house movies of all time, Poltergeist.
Yeah, dude.
Was there a possessed dad in that movie? No. It was purely the dead. It was purely the ghosts
Yep.
that were haunting that house. And you could have done the same thing with the pool. And I think it just might have been a little bit of a better movie.
Yeah. I even said at one point, because I watched it with both Cindy and Kylie, and I was like, this reminds I mean, I'm very I'm taken back to the Amityville Horror. I mean, that was my
Yes.
kind of initial thought, was Amityville Horror. And so again, it would have been nice to not have that, but
I would have liked more monsters. We didn't need a possessed dad. We didn't need it to be so much about the family. It could have been, they still could have kept the wishing well aspect, because I did like that.
I did too. Yep.
If you look at the beginning of the movie and the 1992 flashback, granted, we didn't really see the mom that much,
Mm-hmm.
but we didn't need to have her like completely possessed, running around
Right.
trying to kill her kids or whatever.
Yep. I agree.
The pool did all the work.
Yep.
All the mom had to do was let the pool do the work and take the little girl, and then the
Yep.
little boy, you know.
Got
So we
that.
could have had something like that. I don't know. But I just like the idea of a haunted pool movie, you know.
I do too. No, I agree. I think that sounds fun. I think that sounds unique. Something totally different. I did think of one though. I don't know. You just said something and it totally popped into my head as like another little nitpick.
A quibble. if
Thank you.
will.
A quibble is one thing that it just bugs me is like whenever there's a horror movie and they call someone in to fix something or do something, or oh, we have a weird sound, or oh, our pool's weird, or oh, blah blah blah, we need to hire this mechanic or whatever. They always bring in this character that is such a goofball and weirdo, and you're like, I can honestly, without a doubt, say anyone I've called to come and fix something at my house, been pretty normal, had a great conversation with. I've never had some weirdo that brings up weird stuff and is acting crazy, and like this is another one of those where this guy comes and is just a goofball, and I'm like, why? Like they make it seem like anyone that comes to fix something in these movies has to be some weirdo that says all these odd things, and it's like, can't it just be someone going to their 9-to-5 job that's just like a pretty normal, decent whatever? I don't know, man, but it bugs me, and this was another one, man.
I agree with you. The sad thing is that when I was listening to the commentary, Bryce said that this might be one of his favorite scenes in the entire movie. He loved that guy.
No.
And I'm like, he didn't seem weird enough to fit that role in
Right.
a way. You know, you have these characters like you're talking about that come in. I
Yeah.
think of John Goodman in Arachnophobia.
Yes, oh
And
my
he
God,
was
yeah.
great.
He was great. I'll give that one. That one's fine.
You
That
had
one.
you basically had Quint in Jaws.
Yeah.
Also fantastic.
Right.
But this guy, it just seemed like he was trying to be weird and not getting weird enough to be that offbeat character. And then
Right.
at that point, if he's not going to come back into the movie later on,
Right.
I would just rather him be normal, like you said.
Yeah, and honestly, it could have been a quick scene of like, hey, your water's coming in from this area. It's just something I've never seen before. Done and done. That's all you need. He gave the quick explanation.
Yeah.
We're good. That's
All
it.
he needed was to tell us that this pool was an old spring.
Yep, that's it.
The
So
water
I
comes
don't know.
from the earth.
This bugs me, but there you go. There's one of my pet peeves.
Well, let's talk about some good stuff.
Yes, yeah, yes, please.
One thing I appreciated that I
Mhm.
didn't catch until Bryce mentioned it in the commentary was
Oh,
there's a lot of blue in the movie. And he did that on purpose. He wanted the pool to be
Mhm.
ever present, even when it was a scene away from the pool.
okay.
So in the school, when Izzy goes to school, the
Yeah.
walls are all blue.
Nice.
A
Okay.
lot of the clothing that the characters wear is blue.
I like that.
When you see the flashbacks, when Ray is imagining himself back batting for the
mhm.
Brewers,
Yep.
there's like a little bit of a wavy sense to the memory, like
I
it's
caught that.
underwater.
Very good. Okay.
So I did like that. I did like
I
that.
like that. That's cool.
Here's a cool behind the scenes thing that I heard.
Lay it on me.
So they shot this in Southern California, in Pasadena, I think. They were like, let's shoot in the spring in Southern California, and we'll have like beautiful, sunny Southern California weather. And they happened to end up shooting it during the rainiest Southern California season ever. So they had to use like camera tricks and lighting and color correction to make certain scenes look more sunny than they were. So if you look at certain scenes, like when Ray goes to the Little League baseball, you'll notice that some of the light looks artificial. It doesn't look like sunlight.
Funny. Oh man.
Yeah,
okay.
that's totally true.
Wow. I would not have caught that, but I don't know that side of things as well, so I'm not looking for it, but that's interesting. Huh.
The thing that it was a subconscious thing with me.
Okay.
Because I watched the movie, and when he said that, it made sense, because when I was watching it, I don't remember if they actually say where the movie is supposed to be taking place, but I didn't think it was Southern California.
Right. I don't think it was. I feel like you're right. But I don't remember where. I don't think they ever do say.
Yeah. Yeah, let me just talk about the look of the movie while we're there.
Please.
I loved the way this movie was filmed. Charlie Sarroff was the DP. You will know who Charlie is because Charlie did Smile.
Oh, nice. All right, dude.
He also did a movie called Relic that we haven't talked about on the podcast, but that I saw a while back. It's a pretty dark movie, but really, really good when you understand what the movie's about. And that's all I'm going to say about it.
Okay.
But he's got a brilliant eye. And this movie looks gorgeous.
I would agree with you. I would absolutely.
I'm not sure it totally captures that Amblin feel completely, but I did think it was beautiful. Some of the shots of the pool were incredible.
Yep. I would agree with you on that. Definitely.
I also liked how they preyed upon a few of the fears that we all have normally swimming in a pool. Like, because my grandparents had a pool. And
nice.
I would go over there to go swimming all the time. I remember my parents telling me never to touch the drain at the bottom of the deep end.
Yeah.
And that always scared me because they said you could get your fingers caught. And you've always heard stories about somebody getting their fingers caught in a drain and drowning because they can't swim up. So when Elliot is playing in the pool and the quarter lands on the drain and he goes down to pick it up, like that made me nervous.
I love that.
Yeah, I liked that aspect of the movie. I was surprised at how much underwater shooting there was.
Which I guess, I agree with you, but it does make sense being a movie called Night Swim. I mean, it makes sense. It should be, but I agree with you. Yeah, definitely more than you would think.
Yeah, and they use that to give the pool more of a character. There's a lot of times where, like, maybe the characters are walking away from the pool, and you see it from underneath the water.
Right. Yep.
And it's like the pool is watching them.
Right. Yes. Very good.
And I did like that.
Yep. I agree. And I do appreciate that about movies. I mean, horror or not, when like a city or something that isn't a character is a character. And this is definitely one of those ones. So I appreciate that. And I like that. I think it's cool.
What did you think about the acting?
I thought that it was great. I had no quibbles, no issues. I have to say, though, because I love her, Kerry Condon. I knew her from Better Call Saul.
Yes.
Also from a movie that I think is phenomenal, The Banshees of Inisherin. I always say it wrong, Inisherin. When I first saw her in that, I said, I did not know because I had seen her with just a kind of an American accent. She's Irish in that movie. And I was like, whoa, where is she from? Like, because she does both accents beautifully and she's from Ireland. And so she does an American accent like nobody. I really, seeing her in Saul and then seeing her in this, she is phenomenal at her accent work. I mean, brilliant. So
yeah, there's only a couple times in this movie. I think the moment when her and Ray are in the pool and they're just talking and then they kiss and the kids are like, ew.
Yeah.
There's a couple moments in there where I'm like, oh, I could kind of hear the accent.
I know exactly what part you're talking about. Yes, there was one moment for sure where she did a little accent on one or two syllables for sure. So I agree.
Yeah, I forget where I read this.
Mhm.
The cool thing is that, she was nominated for Best Supporting Actress for the Banshees of Inisherin.
Right.
The Academy Awards were the night before filming was supposed to begin on Night Swim.
Oh, really? Oh my God.
And they delayed filming for 1 day to give her a break after the Academy Awards.
That's cool. That's awesome. I love that. That's sweet. That's really cool.
Yeah. What did you think of Wyatt Russell?
I like Wyatt Russell. I've kind of always liked Wyatt Russell. What's funny though is I never see either of his parents, which is probably good. Like it's not like I definitely see his dad in this scene, which is, I'm sure no one wants that. No one wants that like nepotism or whatever, So, which is good. So I never really see his parents, but I think he's a good actor. I've always liked Wyatt. He can play a good awkward person, if that makes it. Maybe that's hard to say, but he can play kind of a good where you're just like, I can't stop looking right now. I should, but I can't, if that makes sense. Like he just does it well. It's hard to explain, but yeah, I do like Wyatt.
I like him too.
Mm-hmm.
Like you, during this movie, I did not see Kurt at all.
Right.
Or Goldie Hawn.
Right.
But I can't say the same in his other movies.
Okay.
I know
fair.
I know that when he was in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I definitely saw Kurt Russell in him. Because let's be fair,
Yeah,
he
that's
definitely
fair.
resembles his dad more than his mom.
Oh, for sure. Yes. Yep.
But I definitely saw him, Kurt Russell, in that part. I didn't think of Kurt Russell that much here. The one thing that I will nitpick on, I like Wyatt Russell.
Yeah.
And I like Kerry Condon.
Mm-hmm.
To me, Kerry Condon stole the show.
Yeah, she was a highlight for sure.
She was one of my two biggest highlights in this movie.
Fair.
I don't know that I felt a lot of good, what's the word? Two actors together.
Oh, chemistry.
Chemistry. Thank you. I don't know if I felt a lot of good chemistry between her and Wyatt.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I get that.
Yeah, I don't know if I bought them being together.
That's fair.
But at times I did. I don't know. It's weird. I also just felt like she was just so freaking good.
Yeah. She was great in this, man.
And it's cute. There's this one behind the scenes thing where Wyatt is talking about Kerry and he just is saying how great she is. And then at the end, I know he meant it to come across just kind of like funny, but he's like, and I hope she says the same things about me, and I'm just like, aw. Like he probably really feels that. He probably feels like kind of intimidated around Kerry Condon,
Because I would, yeah.
He's cast in this movie with her, and then bam, all of a sudden he's in this movie with this amazing actress who just got nominated for an Academy Award.
Right. 2 nights or a night before.
Yeah, 2 days after she just got home from the Academy Awards.
Yeah, right. Jeez.
But then the other standout to me was Amélie Hoeferle.
She was great.
She was fantastic.
Really great. Yep. I agree.
Now, I know you were building up to it. Did you end up watching the new Hunger Games movie, The Ballad of Snakes and Rabbits and Tigers?
Not yet.
Evidently, she's in it.
Oh, okay. Oh, good. Okay. That's awesome.
I also have not seen it, so.
Yeah. Well, I really do want to read the book before I watch that one. But we'll see.
I know, right?
It's tough. I read all the other ones before them, so we'll see.
I like to read a random book before every movie I watch.
Yeah, just a random book, not of the movie.
Yeah, and then I watch the movie. I'm like, that was nothing like the book. And it's like, well, Scotty, you just read The Hobbit.
Yeah, right.
I'm like, I don't care. Night Swim was nothing like The Hobbit. Totally
Honestly,
didn't do justice to it.
I feel like that sounds like a lot of arguments from people online. So that checks out. That checks out.
I loved the sound effects of the lights going on and off in the pool.
Oh yes, dude. Yes.
Because obviously if the lights are flickering, there's no sound. But I did like that in this movie a lot of times there was like an audible I just made a bad noise with my mouth, but it was like a low bass sound.
Yeah. I agree.
Cool.
That's all I got there.
So did you catch the Jaws homages?
I don't know if I did, man. I guess not. Lay it on me. What did you find? Or what
in the beginning, with the little girl, there's the part where the whatever's underwater, it pulls her like back and forth.
Right. Yep. And she goes under and then pops up.
Just like Chrissy.
Yep. That makes sense.
One of the most blatant homages
Mhm.
is during the pool party. Eve is in the kitchen with, I believe, the real estate woman.
And then
who was funny. She was kind of funny.
Yeah.
But then there's somebody screams out in the pool.
Yep.
And there's a part where Eve like pokes her head up, and it's just like Brody when Brody
nice.
hears screaming in the ocean.
Yes, and then his head. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
that's awesome.
But then it's like it's a false alarm.
Yep.
So that was definitely Jaws. The one thing I didn't catch that Bryce talked about in the commentary was when Eve and Izzy are turning the crank to pull the pool cover back at the end of the movie. He meant for that sound to resemble the sound of the fishing rods in Jaws.
I like that. Yep.
So yeah, there's a bunch.
That's cool.
He really loves Jaws.
Good. Hey, Jaws is a great movie, man. I'm all about it.
Another thing I liked, and you can tell me how you felt about this. So the first movie, or the first time I watched the movie, I wasn't sure how I felt about Ray's somberness. But then when I was watching it again, taking notes and whatnot, I started to realize I was connecting with Ray because Ray was going through a depression. Right. His was brought on by multiple sclerosis.
Right.
But it was making him become nostalgic for his better days when he was a pro baseball player. And now he's not living a bad life. He's in a house with his family, but he misses when he was a star and when he was like, when he could actually do things physically without walking without a cane and stuff like that. So I was kind of connecting to him on a rewatch of this movie. So I thought that was interesting. Did you pick up on any of that, or did you have any thoughts about Ray? And
oh yeah, for sure. I mean, definitely there's times where I think about the old acting days, and kind of go, oh man, what could have been, with the acting anyways. So definitely, yeah, for sure, I see that.
Absolutely, yeah. Did you catch the flyer for the pool? I just thought it was cute. When the kid gives Izzy the flyer for the swimming tryouts. And it's like swim for him, and the diver is like in the shape of a cross.
Yeah, it's like, that's random. It's a Christian, because I think it even says Christian like swim team or something. I was like, oh, okay. Interesting.
I also liked a couple of ways that the movie came full circle in a way, because at the very first shot of the movie, you see the pool, but then the camera starts to rotate and you realize you're looking at the upside down reflection of the pool or of the house. Sorry. And then at the end, when Eve is in the dark water trying to save Elliot, she's swimming in a certain direction, but then the little girl appears. Rebecca is her name. And she lets go of the quarter, and the quarter starts going upwards. And we know that quarters don't float.
Right.
And that's when Eve realizes that the pool has played a trick on her and she's swimming in the wrong direction. She should be swimming the opposite direction. So that was kind of cool. And I also liked how Eve and Ray, when they're talking in the pool early in the movie, she says, "Don't look back." And then at the end, even though I didn't really care for the whole sacrifice thing of Ray going into the pool, I did appreciate that he turns and he looks at them and he says, "Don't look back." And he goes in. It's like a nice little callback.
I like that.
I'm a fan of callbacks.
I am too. One thing I will say I loved that Eve did.
What's that?
Because afterward I was like, oh, smart. She ties because she goes down to go get her son, and she ties the hose to the diving board and goes down. I was like, oh, she's going to go and like, hold on to it and then kind of pull herself back up. That's what my initial thought was, is like she's using it as like a tether so she can get back from what this, dimension she's going to or whatever underwater.
Right.
And then when I see her use it as air, I was like, oh, that's so smart. I did not even think of that. I was like, that's brilliant. I loved that moment. Just
see, I read it a little bit differently.
Oh, okay, lay it on me.
I think I read it as, or I viewed it. I read The Hobbit. I viewed it as initially that's what she was doing. She was using the hose as to hold on to.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But then when she realized the hose wasn't long enough, she was smart enough to use it for air so that she could go further.
Okay. Either way, the fact that she even thought of using it for air, I think I would have been like, well, I'm dead.
Yeah.
Did
you know?
She does very well under pressure.
Did you know that all of the actors had to undergo extensive swimming training to make sure that they're ready for this?
I believe it. I know a lot of movies with underwater do stuff like that, so that I believe it.
And evidently, as if Kerry Condon wasn't impressive enough as an actress, she was
boy.
also a very accomplished swimmer.
Awesome. That's cool.
Yeah.
What can't she do?
Let me tell you something I don't like, pal.
Oh, here we go.
And everybody say it with me in all capital letters. Killing the family pet does not make your movie scarier.
Yes.
My God.
I know.
Like, what was the point of killing off Cider the cat?
There
The
wasn't.
poor cat.
I know.
He was so cute on the diving board. He was so cute
know.
next to the pool and like kind of hissing at the demons in the pool. And they don't show anything, so thank you, I guess, for that. But
Right.
why?
Write them. Find out.
Dude, I don't need to write them. We have a award-winning podcast, and when everybody listens, they'll be like, "Oh, maybe we shouldn't kill off pets in our
That's
movies."
right. Stop killing your movie pets. Knock it
Doesn't
off.
make it scary.
Just makes us mad. I'm ticked. Sorry.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
What part made you wince or cringe in a good way the most out of any other part? This is maybe my favorite part of the movie, but also the hardest scene to watch.
Oh, when she lands on the glass.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, dude.
Wow.
Yeah,
First
that was
of all, you knew it was
rough.
coming.
Oh, yeah, of course you did.
Because when the ghosts or whatever knock the glass off and it lands with that pointy end up, you're like,
Yeah.
oh no.
Yep.
But the way she walks in and she does that really, whoever the stunt person was,
Yeah.
what an incredible fall, first of all,
Yep.
because it was super realistic.
Yes, dude. Yes.
I've done that before,
Oh, me too. Absolutely have been there.
but I've never done it onto a broken piece of glass. My God.
Oh, and then when she pulls it up, I mean, I'm with you. You just sit there and go, ugh, ugh. I can't. I hate it.
As much as I hate that part, and it's the hardest part for me to watch, I think that might be my favorite part of the movie.
It was. I mean, it was realistic. It was perfect, but it just hurt so bad. It reminded me, without spoiling anything, of A Quiet Place. There was, when you see kind of some setups,
Yeah.
and then you see it happen,
yeah,
you're like,
yeah.
I know it's coming. And when it does, either way, you're just like, oh, that hurts so bad. So, again, not spoiling anything, but you know what I'm talking about.
But people that have seen A Quiet Place know what you're talking about.
Yeah, they do.
I have a question for you.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of times when we do a podcast and you actually have questions for me. Something maybe you didn't understand in a movie. And you're like, I didn't really get this, so I have a question for you. Because you know that I've watched it multiple times. Maybe I might have the answer. I have a question for you.
Oh, okay.
Because there's something I don't really understand, and I think this is maybe another quibble that I have with the movie.
Okay.
How did you view Elliot's relationship with his dad, Ray?
Yeah, it was kind of muddled because we see like that they get along and they seem happy, but then in another scene, it's like he sees him almost as like the baseball scene when he goes to his practice and knocks the ball out of the park. We see Elliot kind of sitting there like bummed out about it. And it was like, is he bummed out because he can't live up to his father's, skill? Is he bummed that his dad's getting this attention? He's not, from his, could be friends. I mean, it's, but then then he's really happy to hang out with him in the pool and wants to be his buddy. I don't know, man. Yeah, it was kind of muddled for me. So I got nothing.
I was wondering if it was supposed to be a relationship where he wants to live up to who his dad was.
Mm-hmm.
And he wants to be that shining light in his dad's eyes.
Right.
And he feels like he's not. But then, when he goes up to bat and his dad's sitting there helping all the kids bat and giving them pointers, when he goes up, his dad didn't seem unsupportive.
And I even thought that, and he even hits the ball, and it's, he gets to first or whatever, which is great. And even his dad is like, awesome job, great.
Yeah.
It
But
wasn't
then when his dad comes along and hits the ball, have you ever seen the movie The Natural by any chance?
A long time ago. Yes, and
So that was a huge homage to The Natural, because in that movie Robert Redford hits the ball and hits the lights.
Yep.
I thought that was kind of cool. But anyway, yeah, so all the people are coming up and, hey, congratulations. And he's just kind of sitting back like sad. And I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Like I didn't understand completely the relationship between Elliot and his dad.
I agree with you. I absolutely agree. And that scene was weird to me because it didn't make sense with what we'd seen. So I got no answer for you, man. I agree. I think it was kind of just an odd choice.
It's like guesses,
Yeah.
And there's no, if I remember right, there's no deleted scenes that come with the movie. So I don't know what was cut out and what wasn't.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
But
I agree. Yeah, it was weird. It was just a weird moment.
Finally, the music.
Yeah.
It's time to talk about that musical score.
Yeah, man.
What'd you think?
Honestly, I even thought about this today before our podcast. I need to watch it again because I don't remember anything.
That's
music-wise.
Fine. That's what I look for with you. I want to know, because I know you only watched the movies once.
Right.
So,
and some do hit me.
Yes, exactly. Some do hit
for
you.
Sure. And
so
I didn't with this one.
The composer is Mark Korven, who we've actually talked about before.
That name sounds really familiar.
Does he? Well, it's because he did a little movie called The Black Phone. He also did a little movie called Resident Evil, Welcome to Raccoon City.
For those that are listening and haven't listened to all our episodes, we have done an episode on each of those movies. Go listen.
We haven't done episodes on?
What?
The Lighthouse.
Oh, wow.
The Witch.
Oh, okay.
A movie that was just released this weekend, The First Omen.
Oh, is he the composer for that?
All those movies.
Ooh. Wow. Okay.
So I will say, I kind of agree with you. His score for most of the movie is kind of just background.
Right. Yeah.
But then near the end, man, there's some moments where the strings come up and it gets more sentimental, like with his dad, with Ray walking into the water, that whole scene. There's a lot of nice strings around that time. And then I listened to the soundtrack album.
Yeah.
It's so interesting because I guess he wanted the soundtrack album to be a little bit different in that during a lot of the music, there's also these weird sound effects, like ghostly sound effects and stuff.
That's cool.
That's very cool.
Okay.
It was kind of creepy, and I liked it.
That might be a Halloween album to have on in the background.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I like that.
Well, I mean, I think that's about it for me with my notes.
Yep, same here. I think we covered it. So, 3 questions?
3 questions.
Who would cross the bridge of death must answer me these questions 3.
All right, buddy. What this one's gonna be interesting. What was the best death/kill in this movie?
Yeah, there's only 2 deaths in this movie.
Yeah.
And you don't really see anything. You just see the little girl at the beginning, Rebecca, getting dragged under the water, and then Ray walk into the water. So I'm gonna say none. Oh, I guess there's also Cider the freaking cat. That's definitely my least favorite.
That was actually my favorite, and I wish they had showed more.
I hate that.
I know. I'm gonna say because I didn't know. I have the same note. I'm like either Rebecca or Ray, but I'm with you, and I'm gonna say none because you don't see it. It's I'm gonna
say in place of my favorite death, I'm gonna say my favorite brutal scene was Izzy falling on the glass.
I'm gonna copy you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
copy my homework.
It's what? That's how I got through high school. So hey, here we go. Question number 2: was this movie scary?
I think it could be. I think it could have some very creepy moments. It didn't scare me at all.
Right.
It actually didn't even really creep me out, but I could see how it might creep somebody else out. I don't think it's a not scary movie, like completely,
Right.
like some movies. I think it could be, but not to me.
I agree. I didn't lose sleep. However, like I mentioned earlier, there was definitely some moments that made me kind of uncomfortable with the lights going off in the water. I just kind of put myself there and went, yuck, I don't ever want to be there. But I didn't lose sleep. I didn't think and who knows, man, maybe if this was more of a monster type movie, it would have made me a little freaked out more. I don't know.
Yeah.
But being what it was, I was not scared. So I wouldn't call it scary, but I can see how people would be frightened by it.
There you
There
go.
you go. Question number 3, man. Did you have fun with horror?
You know what? I did. I did have fun with horror.
Good.
Despite my quibbles, I thought it was a good movie. I thought it was
Mhm.
enjoyable. Probably won't watch it again for a while, but I can see myself watching it a couple years down the line, rewatching it, or when they make a sequel.
Right.
What about you?
Same. Yeah. I did have fun with it and I liked it and I did have quibbles, but it was still enjoyable to me. And like I mentioned, the things I've seen where people complained about, I went, why? Because I had fun. I thought it was fun. So yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, and going back to the last, like, question number 2, now that
Yeah.
I'm thinking about this and what you just said, I wish they had more monsters because there is a certain creepiness to swimming at night.
Yes.
And for
Yeah.
me, I remember one of the things that creeped me out when I would swim in my grandparents' pool at night was the bats. Bats would come down and swoop and get a drink of
Yeah.
water. And there was always a creepiness of what's outside the pool. I wish the movie had played on that a little bit more.
Yeah. Yep.
So,
That's
but
fair.
otherwise, I did have fun, and I do appreciate how beautiful the movie was shot and all that. So there you go.
There we go. Hey, night swim, man.
It's a night to swim.
Marco.
All right, Andrew, we talked about this earlier.
Hey, I gotta go, actually. So this was fun. I'll talk to you later. Bye.
All right. Well, never going to know what you're picking for our next movie.
Hashtag JK. I'm here.
Just kidding. Not a certain author.
Right. Just
that we know
kidding.
of.
Just kidding.
Awful. But yeah, so here's what you've told me about our next
Yeah.
movie.
Okay.
You've told me that it was a movie you're not sure that I even know about. And
Yeah.
of course we both said I probably have heard of it because I've got my finger on the pulse of the horror community.
You do. And I guarantee you have heard of it. I really do, but I don't.
But
Yeah.
you said it's a movie that was released this year
Mhm.
that if you had known about it during our year in review and resolutions episode, you would have picked this as your most anticipated movie of the year.
Mhm.
You've said that it's not streaming on any of the streaming services, that you have to purchase or rental it.
And I thought it was, unfortunately. I did think it was, but yeah, it is not.
I have gone on to Apple to their store. You even told me how much the movie costs to
Yes.
buy. And I could not find what movie you're talking about. So, Andrew, what is our next movie?
And honestly, I watched a tiny bit of the trailer and went, nope, I'm done with that because this looks amazing. And then I kept seeing reviews from like our horror community friends talking about it, just being like, this is phenomenal. This movie's phenomenal. And I'm like, my appetite, man, I am hungry for this movie.
And I've told you that Madam Web is not a horror movie.
Okay, well then I guess we're done with the podcast.
And Morbius came out before this year.
What? and I'm just picking it? Okay. There's a style. I'm working up to it, buddy, because I love that you don't know this and I love that it's eating at you a little bit. But there's a
but think of our listeners though. Don't make them wait too long.
I'm not,
because they'll turn off the podcast.
All right, real quick. There's a style of movie that I genuinely love because it's an art and it takes a very long time to do. And when people do it, it is brilliant and beautiful. One of the many reasons.
Is that a samurai movie?
No.
Oh, okay. Okay.
There's kind of a samurai movie like it, but some of my favorite movies in the world.
I know the movie.
Do you?
I do, but I'll let you say it.
So I love the movie A Nightmare Before Christmas. I love the movie Coraline, and they are both made with stop motion, which is our next horror movie, my friend.
Wow. So I did like browse by this movie,
Yeah.
and I was like, interesting. But last night when I was looking in the horror section of Apple, I did not see this movie. So I
Oh.
did not see how much it costs.
Nice.
So yeah, awesome.
I love stop motion and this is seriously why, had I known about this movie, it would have been my favorite, or would have been my most anticipated movie. Is I truly think stop motion is one of the most brilliant pieces of art out there. I think it's fantastic. I think it's phenomenal. The amount of patience people put into these movies and dedication and blood, sweat, and tears, it shows. And I love stop motion. I always have. So I am extremely excited that there is a horror movie based on something that means so much to me. And I cannot wait to enjoy this with you. And it will either be one of my favorite, if not favorite, horror movies of all time, or it will be a movie I genuinely appreciate, even if I didn't like it, because of that aspect. So there's no losing in this for me.
What's interesting to me is that you say all this, but yet there's another stop motion horror movie that I have even put on my resolutions lists, I think last year. And then this year I said I never watched it, but I still want to.
Oh, crap. What?
And that's Mad God. That's a stop motion movie as well. And I don't know if you know that.
I don't know that. I didn't know that.
Oh my goodness. You would have picked it a long time ago, probably.
I probably would have. I did not know Mad God was interesting.
Get your finger out of your mouth.
Sorry. I'll put two in.
Okay, so stop motion. Do you know anything about this
man.
movie? What do you know about this movie? Anything?
Nothing. Like I saw a tiny bit of the trailer and I loved the... I don't want to say much because I don't know how much of this you know.
I don't know really anything about this movie.
I will say this. What I saw of the trailer of the stop motion was incredible. And I'm very excited for that. And that's all I want to say because I don't know if you know anything about how it was filmed or anything. So I don't want to say anything, man. I want you to be surprised.
Awesome, because I know nothing. I
Good.
don't even really know what the public response of this movie has been. I haven't seen, I knew that it existed, but I didn't see a lot of talk about it. So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but we'll see.
Well, like I said, what I saw was just our friends, the people in this community that we know that were just raving about it.
Right.
So,
okay. They were raving about it.
It really, honestly, raving. So that's, who knows? But, these people that we know have had different opinions than I do. So I don't know, man. But like I said, it's either going to be my favorite or something I appreciate. There's definitely not. I will not lose on this movie at all. There's something I will definitely appreciate because of the stop motion aspect.
Did you know that this entire podcast, I've been stop motion while we were recording? Yeah.
Oh
It's
my
really good,
gosh. Right? Wow. It was so smooth. Wow.
Smooth.
Smooth.
Well, there we go. Stop motion is our next movie. We want to thank everybody out there for listening.
We love you.
Especially those that are still listening right now. We hope you enjoyed this episode. We hope you enjoy our episodes to come. We've said this before. If you enjoy the podcast and you're still listening and you haven't done it already, please go on to Apple Podcasts and leave us a nice review.
Please.
It really helps us get out there to more people. We constantly get messages from new people and we love that.
Yeah.
And we want to reach more people.
Definitely.
Even if they listen and they're like, yeah, it's not my thing. That's fine. At least they've heard us.
I agree 100%. But I also want to say thank you to everybody and that we love you.
We do love you. Stay tuned in 2 weeks. We'll be back to talk about stop motion. I'm not sure the date yet, but I will be guest hosting on Chuddle the Pod, talking about the return of the living dead.
Nice.
So stay tuned for that. And until then, Andrew.
Scotty.
You want to go swimming?
I do.
Is it safe?
No pool is absolutely safe, but you see that cap? That's a wellhead. I've never seen an actual spring-fed pool before in person, but you're tapped into groundwater. I'm talking aqua-clue. That's some sub-level aquifer shit.
What does that mean?
Yeah, what does that mean? I'm about to tell you what that means. That means natural filtration, geothermal heating, the whole shebang.